So good evening, everyone. If I'm audible to you and if video is clear, please type all okay in the chat so that we can start our today's live session. So if audio and video are okay, please type all okay in the chat box. Welcome to the live session. This is session number 22, and today we are going to discuss important MCQs from Unit 22 and Unit 23. So if everything is okay, please type all okay in the chat box so that we can start our today live session. Yes, okay, fine. So everything is okay. So friends, let's get started with first question that we have. The first question, as you can see on the screen, it says that MNO Limited, right? I hope you have pen, paper, calculator with you. So it says that MNO Limited sells a FRA. FRA stands for, forward rate agreement, right? So FRA means, forward rate agreement. So MNO Limited sells an FRA 6 into 9 for INR 50 crore at 8% against 3-month NSE MIBOR on the settlement date. On the which is given. Now the question is asking you, what was the view of MNO Limited when entering into the FRA? Option A, interest rate will fall. Option B, interest rate will rise in the next 3 months. Option C, interest rate will rise after 6 months. Option D, interest rate will be positively sensed by bond only. So what was the view of MNO Limited when entering into FRA? So this is the first question, right? This is the first question of today's session. So what was the view of MNO Limited while entering into FRA? So I'm giving you 10 seconds to think about it, right? I'm giving you 10 seconds to think about this particular question, whatever you think correctly. So let's break it down step by step, right? So before revealing the answer, let's understand the key concept here. And the key concept here, is what is FRA? You know what is the meaning of FRA? आपको पता है FRA क्या होता है? What is FRA? So basically, it is a contract. FRA is a type of contract in which two parties are there, and those two parties agree on interest rate for future period. They agree on one interest rate for future, right? They agree on one interest rate for future. So here, what is happening? In this case, as you can see, this MNO Limited, right? It sells FRA 6 into 9 at 8%, right? So do you know the meaning of this 6 into 9? Do you know the meaning of this 6 into 9? So I will tell you later. And the agreed rate is 8%. Agreed rate is how much? 8%. Now, so friends, agreed rate is how much? As you can see, 10%. But on the settlement date, what happened? So this was the agreed rate. Agreed rate is how much? 10%. But on the settlement date, the rate is 7.5%. राइट तो हुआ क्या उन्होंने एग्री किया कि 8% पे लेकिन जब सेटलमेंट का दिन आया तब जो रेट है वो 7.5% का है 7.5%. नाउ लेट अस थिंक अबाउट दिस इफ एमएनओ लिमिटेड एक्सपेक्टेड इंटरेस्ट रेट टू फॉल would they sell the FRA or buy it, right? So friends, very that suppose if MNO Limited expected interest rate to fall. Suppose MNO Limited expected the interest rate to fall. So would they sell the FRA or would they buy the FRA? Please type in the chat box sell or buy, right? If you expect interest rate to fall, basically it is a kind of agreement, right? Yes, forward rate agreement, right? So suppose this MNO Limited, as what is happening here, एग्रीमेंट उन्होंने किया 8% पे लेकिन एक्चुअल अब वो घट के 7.5% हो गया मतलब इंटरेस्ट रेट घट चुका है राइट ऑन सेटलमेंट डे एनएसई माइबॉर इज 7.5%. So if they expected that interest rate will fall in the future, would they sell it or would they buy it? So that is the question here. Exactly what has been MNO Limited क्या सोचा था? What was view of the MNO Limited when entering into the FRA? जब वो FRA में इंटर हुए थे तो उनका व्यू क्या था? इंटरेस्ट रेट घटेगा, इंटरेस्ट रेट विल फॉल और इंटरेस्ट रेट विल राइज इन द नेक्स्ट 3 months और इंटरेस्ट रेट विल राइज आफ्टर 6 months और इंटरेस्ट रेट विल बी पॉजिटिवली सेंस्ड बाय द बॉन्ड. And you know what is the meaning of 6 into 9? The 6 into 9 means, let me explain. 6 into 9 means contract applied to 3-month period starting 6 months from now. to this question is, the correct answer to this question is, I'm not getting any response from your side. So I think you are not familiar with FRA, right? Correct answer is C. Option C is the correct answer. That they expected interest rate will rise after 6 months. This was their expectation when they were buying FRA, when they were entering into FRA, they expected interest rate to rise after 6 months. So what is happening here? यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि MNO Limited sell FRA at 8%. They sold the FRA at 8%. It means they expected interest rate to be higher than 8% after 6 months. उन्होंने क्या सोचा था? उन्होंने एक्सपेक्ट किया था कि इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है 8% से ज्यादा होगा 6 महीना बाद. They expected that interest rate will be higher than 8% after 6 months. But on settlement date, what happened? The interest rate fall to 7.5%. It was higher rate. They locked in higher rate, so they faced a loss, right? So two things you must understand. Two word here. यहाँ पे दो word बहुत important है. Selling and buying, right? Selling an FRA and buying an FRA. What does it selling means and what does a buying mean? So try to understand. Selling means, selling an FRA means you expect future interest rate to rise. आप FRA कब बेचेंगे? जब आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि फ्यूचर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेगा. You will sell an FRA, you will sell an forwarded agreement expecting that future interest rate will increase, and you will buy an FRA expecting that future interest rate will fall. Obvious सी बात है ना. आप बेचेंगे कोई चीज तभी ना जब आपको ज्यादा प्रॉफिट होगा, राइट? So you will sell an FRA expecting that future interest rate will rise, and you will buy an FRA expecting that future interest rate will fall. So here what is happening? Interest rate is falling, right? So MNO Limited view was that interest rate will rise after 6 months. That is why your question. Let me ask you a question here to check your understanding. I request everyone to please answer my question. What I am asking you. Please listen to my question carefully. Suppose that interest rate has actually risen to 8.5%. Suppose interest rate rise to 8.5%. It is risen to 8.5%. Now tell me, would MNO type loss in the chat? Suppose interest rate rise to 8.5%. Loss. Please let me know in the chat. I am waiting for your response. That if interest, so would they have made a profit or they have made a loss? Please let me know. यदि मान लीजिए इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है 8% की जगह, yes obviously, right, yes obviously they will get a profit. If interest rate has risen to 8.5% and since they are selling a FRA, so obviously it means that they would have made a profit, right? That is the key point here, right? So what we learn from this question is that MNO Limited expected rate to rise after 6 months, right? And so they sold FRA at 8%. And since rate fall, so they incurred a loss, right? So I hope this concept is clear. Please let me know the concept is clear or not, because yes, great, profit is the correct answer, because this question was asked in the BFM examination. That's why I put it here. Now let's look at the second question. What is the settlement amount if NSE MIBOR is 7.5% after 6 months? Right. It's the same question, based on the same question that this question has been asked. Right. So what was the question? Let me again show you. This was the question. This is the first data. So based on these data, you have to calculate. The data is 8% against 3-month NSE MIBOR on settlement date. Right. And settlement date NSE MIBOR is 7.5%. Right. So the question is asking you to calculate the settlement amount. What will be the settlement amount? Right. So after 6 months, MIBOR is 7.5%. What is the settlement amount? I request you, if possible, please take the screenshot of this slide. Right. If possible, please take a screenshot of this slide, because the data of this slide. So now let me show you the question. The question is, what is the settlement amount if NSE MIBOR is 7.5% after 6 months? Option A, 50,000. Option B, 62,500. Option C, 75,000. Option D, 80,000. Right. So let me again show you the data so that you can calculate. This is the data. You just have to find the settlement amount. So what happened if the settlement rate is lower than the agreed rate. What happen if the settlement rate is lower than the agreed rate? Option A, FRA seller gains money. FRA seller gains money. And option B, FRA seller lose money. Please answer my question. Let's check your understanding, whether you understand FRA correctly or not. Suppose settlement rate is less than the agreed rate, what will happen? Option A, FRA seller will gain money, and option B, FRA seller will lose money. Type A and B in the chat. Right. So you are saying B, right? So you are saying B. Like in this case, you can say settlement rate is how much? Settlement rate is how much? Settlement rate is 7.5% and agreed rate is 8%. So FRA seller lose money. Very good. I think your concept is clear. Now what is happening here? That since MNO Limited sold the FRA at 8%, right? They were hoping that interest rate would go up. But on the settlement date, what happened? The actual interest rate is 7.5%, which is lower than the expected. So this means that MNO Limited faced a loss because they locked in higher rate, but the market rate turned out to be lower. Now, how to find the settlement amount? Do you know how to calculate the settlement amount? What is the formula to be used? Do you know the formula? If you know, please type the correct answer in the chat box. Right. So let me tell you the formula. The formula to be used to calculate the settlement amount is simple. Right. So let me write down the formula here. Settlement amount is equal to notional principal, just like principal multiplied by agreed rate minus settlement rate, right, multiplied by contract period, right, and this divided by 12 to make it year and divided by 100. So basically it is nothing but P into R into T upon 100. I think you are familiar with this formula. Principal into rate into time upon 100. The same formula has been used here. But in place of R, what we have taken the difference between the agreed rate and the settlement rate. And in place of T, we have written the contract period. Right. So that is the point. Now can you tell me what is the agreed rate? Agreed rate is 8%. What is the settlement rate? It is 7.5%. So can you do the calculation for me? I hope you have pen and calculator with you. So please do this calculation and calculate settlement rate for me. So what value are you getting? So first of all, you must understand the meaning of this 6 into 9, right? You must understand the meaning of this 6 into 9. So for how much period this agreement was there? It was for 3 months, right? So contract period is 3 months. Now what is the principal amount? The principal amount is 50 crore, right? It is 50 crore. So just let me write 50 crore multiplied by what is the agreed rate? 8%. What is the settlement rate? 7.5%. What is the difference? 0.5%. So 0.5 divided by 100. And what is the contract period? It is 3 months to make it year. So into 3 upon 12, right? So how much value are you getting? Please type in the chat box. How much value are you getting after doing this calculation? What is the settlement amount? So let me again show you the option. So these are the options are 50,000, 62,500, 75,000, 80,000. So basically 50 crore means what? 50 0000 000. So this is principal amount. And you know 8 minus 7.5 is 0.05 0.05 multiplied by 0.25. So let me calculate. I am using calculator. So the value I am getting is 62,500. Are you also getting the same value? Please let me know. Please do the calculation. This is quite simple. Nothing but P into R into T upon 100. You can see the calculation here, right? This is the calculation. You can see the calculation that principal into rate into time contract period upon 12, right? Just put in the value and you will get the answer, right? So this is the settlement amount after 6 months, right? So this is the settlement amount after 6 months. So did you get 62,500? I hope you also get the same 62,500. Right. So remember this formula. This will help you to calculate. Yes, obviously. Now let's see the third part of the question. The third part of the question say, what does FRA 6 into 9 means? What is the meaning of 6 into 9? Loan for 3 months, beginning in 3 months. loan for 3 months beginning in 6 months, loan for 6 months beginning in 3 months. Of this FRA is 6 into 9. So let me ask you a question. Does FRA involve actual lending? Does FRA involve actual lending or borrowing? Please answer my question. Does FRA involve actual lending or borrowing? Yes or no? Option A, yes. Option B, no. Right. Please let me know. Does FRA involve actual lending or borrowing? Okay, so you are saying 6 months later FRA was given. Okay, so please understand. Please try to understand. That is what I will tell you here. See, FRA is the contract period. Please understand. You will understand why, Sandeep. I'm talking about you. Basically, you will understand after this question, right? So once you understand the meaning of 6 into 9, you will be able to understand why we have taken 3 months. Okay. So first of all, let me know. Does FRA answer is no, right? The correct answer is no, because FRA is just a contract to hedge against. FRA is just a contract. It is just a contract to hedge. It is just a contract to hedge against interest rate change, right? Against interest rate change, it is just a contract to hedge. So no actual loan is given, right? So the answer is 6. Please try to understand. Two number are there, 6 into 9, right? So the first number, which is 6, this 6 means, this 6 means the contract start after 6 months. It means contract start after 6 months, right? And the second number 9 means contract end after 9 months. It means contract end after 9 months. So the first 6 means that contract start after 6 months, and second 9 means contract end after 9 months. So how I do the 3 month period from 6 months to 9 months? So what will be the answer? Now answer. Is it A, B, C or D? What will be the answer? B. Very good. B will be the answer. Very good. Right. I hope Sandeep, your query has been resolved. Please let me know whether your doubt is clear or not. Why we have taken 3 months? I hope it is clear. You must understand the meaning of this 6 into 9, right? Okay, very good. So friends, let me tell you that the first number means the contract start after 6 months, and second number means the contract end after 9 months. So FRA applied to 3 month period from month 6 to 9, right? So let us test your understanding. Let us test your understanding. So what is the meaning of this? Just wait a minute. So what is the meaning of this FRA? Let's say 3 into 6. FRA 3 into 6. Option A, loan for 3 months beginning in 3 months. Option B, loan for 6 months beginning in 3 months. Option C, loan for 6 months beginning in 6 months. Loan for three, just wait a minute. Option C, let me correct it. Wait a minute. Option C, I'm writing loan for 3 months beginning in 6 months, and option D, loan for 6 months beginning in 6 months. What is the meaning of FRA 3 into 6? Option A, loan for 3 months beginning in 3 months. Option B, loan for 6 months beginning in 3 months. Option C, loan for 3 months beginning in 6 months, and loan for 6 months beginning in 6 months. What is the meaning of FRA 3 into 6? A, B, C, and D. Option A, most of people are saying. Yes, very good. Right. Loan for 3 months beginning in 3 months. Very good. Right. So let me summarize the fact. What we learned from this discussion is that, so whenever, suppose FRA X into Y is written, right? Suppose FRA X into Y is written. So it means contract start in X month and will end in Y month. So the period of FRA will be Y minus X. This will be the period, right? This will be the period of FRA, right? So no actual loan is involved. It is just hedge against interest rate movement. I hope the concept is clear. Now let's see the last question of this case study. The exact same case study was asked in BFM December 2022 examination. 2022 examination. Now the last question is, what is the trade date in the present case? Right. What is the trade date in the present case? So option A, the date on which exchange of cash flow takes place. Option B, the end date of the 9 month period. Option C, the end date of a 6-month period. And option D, the date on which MNO sell FRA. Type your answer in the chat. Let's say who get it right first. So we have to, the question is asking you what is the trade date. So let me again show you the question. This is the question, right? This is the question. MNO Limited sells FRA for 50 crore at 8% against 6-month NSE MEVOR on settlement date. On settlement date, NSE MEVOR is 7.5%. So this is the data. On the basis of this data, you have been asked to calculate. Let me again show you the question. So the question is, as you can see, what is the trade date in the present case? So you must know the meaning of this trade date. So most of the people are saying option D. Okay, first of all, let's understand some key terms. So there are some key terms which you must keep in mind, right? So there is something called trade date. Trade date means what? The date when FRA deal is agreed upon. It means the date when FRA deal is agreed, right? The date when FRA deal is agreed. And you know, there is something called contract start date. There is something called contract start date. So contract start date means when the FRA actually begin affecting the borrower. And there is something called settlement date. Try to understand the difference between these kind of date. Trade date is different, contract start date is different, and settlement date means when FRA is settled based on market rate, right? So let's analyze it. So now basically in our question you will see 6 into 9, right? In our question you will see 6 into 9. So 6 into 9 means what? FRA start in 6 months and last until 9 months, right? So what is the meaning of trade date? Trade date means when the contract start influencing the borrower, right? When the contract start influencing the borrower. Let me ask you a question. Does the trade date refers to when cash actually change hand? Let me ask you a question. Does trade date refers to when cash actually change hand? Yes or no? Does trade date refers to when cash actually change hand? What do you think? Yes or no? So the correct answer is no, right? Because you know cash flow are settled later, but the contract become relevant at the end of 6 months. So the correct answer is no. Try to understand. Trade date is when the contract start influencing the borrower, right? मतलब जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट borrower को इन्फ्लुएंस करना शुरू कर देता है, और ये कब होता है? जैसे हमारा 6 महीना खत्म होगा ना, एट द एंड ऑफ दिस 6 month period, at the end of this 6 month period, this is called the trade date, right? So the cash flow will be settled later, but the contract become relevant at the end of 6 months. So the correct answer is the end. The correct answer to this question is option number C, that the end date of the 6 month period is the trade date, right? So this is the trade date. Again, I am repeating. What is the meaning of trade date? The date when FRA deal is agreed upon. So it is agreed at the end of 6 months, right? So this is our trade date. And what is the settlement date? Settlement date means when the FRA is settled based on market rate, right? That is the settlement date. So that is the point. So the trade date means when FRA start affecting the borrower. So in this case, it is affecting just after 6 months, right? So the end date of 6 month period will be our trade date, right? So let me ask you a question. Here. That suppose instead of here, that suppose FRA is leveled as 3 into 6. So what is the trade date? Option A, after 3 months. Option B, after 6 months. Option C, today. And option D, after 9 months. So suppose FRA is leveled as 3 into 6. What will be the trade day? It is option A, after 3 months. Option B, after 6 months. Option C, today. And option D, after 9 months. Please answer. Is it A, B, C or D? So you are saying option A. Very good. Option A is the correct answer. Very good. Right? Because trade day means when the FRA start affecting the borrower. So in the FRA 6 into 9, 6 is the trade, 6 months is the trade day, because that is when the loan period begin, right? And the exchange of cash flow happen at the settlement date. Remember, cash flow exchange always happen at the settlement date, right? I hope this concept is clear, right? If you found this explanation helpful, I hope this is clear to you. Now let's see the last question of this. This was the 5th question, right? So which of the following statement is true regarding FRA? It is asked. So option number A, the principal amount is exchanged in FRA. Option number B, price are quoted and fixed as per the market. Option C, benchmark interest rate is a reference rate, basically a fixed rate. And option D, the buyer of FRA always gain if interest rate fall. So which is true? What is the correct option here? Is it A? Okay, please repeat. So you are telling me to repeat previous question, right? Okay, so I am again repeating. I am again repeating. See, what is the meaning of trade date? Trade date means what? See, whenever I say 6 into 9, right? So whenever I say this term 6 into 9, right? So whenever I say 6 into 9, it means FRA start in 6 months and last until 9 months. So the trade date is when contract start influencing the borrower, which is at the end of 6 months, right? So trade date refers to when the contract start influencing the borrower. So it means at the end of 6 months. Suppose the FRA contract is level 3 into 6 months. So in this case, trade date will be 3 months at the end of 3 months, because this is when it start influencing the borrower, right? So whenever FRA start affecting the borrower, that is called the trade date. I hope that makes sense to you, right? So now let's come back to this question. Which of the following statement is true? Such since this question exactly as same as appeared in the examination. So अच्छा हिंदी, ओके। देखिए बात है कि some people some people are from south and they face difficulty in understanding in Hindi. That's why, right? So it does not matter, language does not matter. What matter is understanding, right? So basically यहाँ पे हम लोग वापस आते हैं, which of the following statement is true, right? So the Okay, so which of the following statement is true? Is it has been asked. So first option is principal amount is exchanged in FRA, right? So let's go through each and every option. Option number A suggests that principal amount in exchange in FRA. So think about it. Do we actually exchange the loan amount in FRA? So please ask. Let me ask you a question. Is FRA a real loan? Is FRA a real loan? Option A, yes. Option B, no. Just answer A or B. What do you think? Is FRA a real loan? Is forward rate agreement a real loan? Yes or no? What do you think? Is FRA a real loan? The answer is no, right? FRA is not a real loan, because only the interest difference is settled, right? Because what happened in FRA, only interest difference is settled and the principal amount is never exchanged. FRA में क्या होता है कि केवल जो इंटरेस्ट डिफरेंशियल है, whatever is the interest differential, that is only settled, right? Principal amount is never exchanged. So option A is wrong. What about option B? Price are quoted and fixed as per the market. So this is correct. This is correct, because FRA rate are determined based on market demand and supply, just like bond yield, right? So rate are determined based on market demand and supply, just like bond yield. Option C suggests that the benchmark rate is a reference rate, basically a fixed rate. So that is wrong, because the benchmark rate in this case is NSE MIBOR. Just now I have told you the benchmark rate is NSE MIBOR, and it is not a fixed rate, rather it is a floating rate. जो एनएसई माइवार होता है ना, वो फ्लोटिंग रेट होता है. इट मींस इट कीप्स चेंजिंग, राइट? So NSE MIBOR is not a fixed rate, it is a floating rate. So this option is C is wrong, right? And option D says that the buyer of FRA always gain if interest rate fall. What do you think about it? Is it correct? Right? What do you think about it? Does the buyer of FRA always gain if the interest rate fall? Try to think about it. For suppose you buy an FRA, right? Does he always gain if interest rate fall? This is wrong. Buyer of FRA always gain when interest rate rise, not fall, right? So let me ask you a question: who benefit? Uh, so basically, buy. So here, just wait a minute. I think this is also correct, because when interest rate fall, suppose yes, this is also correct. It's not absolutely wrong. Option D is also correct, right? Yes, yes. So basically, what happened? Who? So here's the point, that who benefit when it, like we have seen in this particular case. In this case, what was happening? That इस केस में क्या हो रहा था कि उन्होंने सेटलमेंट एग्रीमेंट किया था 8% पे, और सेटलमेंट किया था 7.5% पे, which means in this case they incurred a loss, they incurred a loss, right? So FRA seller incurred a loss when interest rate fall, right? So here it is about FRA buyer. So it's correct. It is correct to some extent. Option D is also correct, right? So in this case, B and D both are correct. But this always word, always word is somewhat, is ये जो word always लिखा है ना, ये कुछ हद तक गलत है. हमेशा नहीं गेन करेगा, right? To some extent, yes, if an interest rate fall, buyer on FRA gains, right? So what we learned from this discussion is that in FRA, only the interest rate difference is settled, and FRA price are determined by market condition, and benchmark rate is floating, it is not fixed, right? So that is the point. So this is all about FRA. FRA के बारे में जितना point हमने 5 क्वेश्चन डिस्कस किए, right? So I think that is sufficient regarding this FRA. Nothing extra will be asked, right? So you must know all this point. You must know how to calculate the settlement amount, right? Now let's switch our focus to the next question. Let's switch our focus to the next question. The next question is in front of your screen, as you can see. Basically, a portfolio manager is there, right? So a portfolio manager observe the price behavior of two bonds. So there are two bonds. He observed the price behavior of two bonds when interest rate change. So bond A, you can say bond A, right? If rate fall by 50 basis point, right? So bond A 10-year maturity, 5% coupon, right? And bond A rises by 8%, while bond B rises by 10%, right? When rate rises by 50 basis point, so see what is happening here. What is happening here? There two bonds are there, right? So bond A and bond B, right? And for bond A, when interest rate falls by 50 basis point, bond A rise by 8% and bond B rise by 10%. You know it very well, right? Interest rate and bond price are inversely related. जब interest rate घटेगा तो bond का price बढ़ता है. तो वही यहाँ पे हो रहा है. That is the same thing is happening here. What is happening here? Try to understand what is happening here for bond A. Let me explain it. What is happening? So for bond A, you know what is happening. If interest rate fall by 50 basis point, if interest rate fall by 50 basis point, price rise by 8%, right? यदि बॉन्ड ए का इंटरेस्ट रेट 50 बेसिस पॉइंट से घट रहा है तो प्राइस 8% बढ़ रहा है. फॉर बॉन्ड बी, इफ इंटरेस्ट रेट फॉल बाय 50 बेसिस पॉइंट, प्राइस राइज बाय 10%. सो दैट इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. नाउ सपोज इंटरेस्ट रेट इज फॉलिंग. अब मान लीजिए कि इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है अभी बढ़ रहा था, अब इंटरेस्ट रेट मान लीजिए घट रहा है. यू कैन सी व्हेन द सेकंड केस इज when rate rise by 50 basis point, bond A fall by 7%, right? And bond B fall by 9%, right? So the portfolio manager expected bond B to behave similar to bond A, but it did not. So the question is, what explains the discrepancy in bond B price sensitivity compared to bond A, right? तो इंटरेस्ट रेट फॉल बाय 50 बेसिस पॉइंट. देखिए जब 50 बेसिस पॉइंट घट रहा है तो बॉन्ड ए 8% बढ़ रहा है और बॉन्ड भी 10% बढ़ रहा है. और जब 50 बेसिस पॉइंट इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ रहा है तो आप बिहेवियर देखिए. सो यू कैन सी देयर इज अ डिस्क्रिपेंसी इन द बॉन्ड प्राइस सेंसिटिविटी. सो व्हाट इज द रीजन? दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. ऑप्शन नंबर ए, मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन, assume a linear yield curve while bond B has higher convexity. Option B, bond B lower coupon amplify yield curve convexity effect. Option C, bond A cash flow are less sensitive to long term rate change. And option D, the yield curve inverted during the rate change, right? So this question was asked in the December examination. Exactly such type of question was asked. This question is taken from your Macmillan book, right? So what do you think? What is the reason behind bond B discrepancy in the bond B price sensitivity as compared to bond A? So this is the prime question. So before revealing the answer पे आने से पहले समझिए क्या हो रहा है. Let's understand what is happening. That both bond are having the same maturity. आप दोनों bond को देखिए एक बार ध्यान से, right? Both are having the same maturity, right? Please see, bond A is also having a maturity of 10 year. Bond B is also having maturity of 10 year, right? So both bond have the same maturity. So why bond B is reacting more? Why bond B react more sharply to interest rate change? You can see bond B is reacting more to the interest rate change, right? That is what we are observing here, right? So let me ask you a question here. Which bond is more sensitive to interest rate change? Which bond is more sensitive? This is a very important question to understand. Which bond is more sensitive to interest rate change? Option A, high coupon bond. Option A, high coupon bond, and option B, low coupon bond. प्लीज ट्राई टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन, बिकॉज वंस यू आंसर इट, यदि आप इसका जवाब दे देते हैं तो फिर आप इसको समझ जाएंगे तुरंत, राइट? तो कौन सा बॉन्ड होता है जो सबसे ज्यादा सेंसिटिव होता है इंटरेस्ट रेट चेंज से? ऑप्शन ए हाई कूपन बॉन्ड, ऑप्शन बी लो कूपन बॉन्ड. Yes, B. Very good, Sandeep. Option B is the correct. Low coupon bond is the correct answer. Because try to understand this. Because if coupon rate is lower, it means bond has high convexity. Convexity will be higher, right? So it means they experience a large price swing when interest rate change, right? So if coupon rate is lower, यदि coupon rate कम होगा तो क्या होगा कि price swing काफी ज्यादा होता है, right? जब interest rate change होता है तो, right? So now you know what is the meaning of convexity? Let me explain a little bit. मैं थोड़ा सा आपको एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूं. देखिए एक वर्ड है हमारा, एक वर्ड है मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन. यू नो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन? मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन का मीनिंग क्या होता है? सी, modified duration tells you how much bond price will change for a small interest rate movement. It tells you what will be the change in bond price if interest rate move small, right? If interest rate move small, assuming a straight line relationship, it assumes that the relationship is a straight line. So that is modified duration. But what is the meaning of convexity? You know the meaning of convexity? Convexity का क्या मतलब होता है? It measures the curvature. It measures the curvature in the price yield relationship. जो हमारा price yield relationship है ना, उसमें curvature हमारा convexity measure करता है. Convexity measure the curvature in the price yield relationship. So it help adjust for the non-linear change. Try to understand. Modified duration क्या assume करता है कि हमारा जो relation है price और yield का वो linear है. It assume that the relationship between price and yield is linear, while this convexity assumes that, right, convexity it helps for adjustment for non-linear price, right? So in this case you can see that bond B, let's come back to this question. You can see what is the coupon rate of bond B. Bond B का coupon rate कितना है? What is the coupon rate of bond B? As you can see, it is 2%. The coupon rate for bond B is 2%. So its convexity is higher, right? So convexity of bond B is higher. That is why its price increase more when rate fall and decrease more when rate rise, right? So that is the point. So convexity measures non-linear price movement. Remember it. So what is the correct answer now? Is it A, B, C or D? Please answer now. I hope I have given you sufficient information to answer this question. What do you think is the correct? Yes, option B is the correct effect, right? So what we learned from this discussion is that, and the same thing have been given in your book, right? So what we learned from this discussion is that, low coupon bond, lower coupon, it means high convexity. Lower coupon, it means high convexity, meaning they experience larger price swing. And modified duration, the modified duration assume the straight line relationship, राइट, बट बॉन्ड प्राइस मूव इन अ कर्व फैशन. मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन क्या एज्यूम करता है कि जो हमारा प्राइस है और जो यील्ड है वो स्ट्रेट लाइन मूव करेगा, लेकिन एक्चुअल क्या होता है, देयर इज अ कर्व लाइक मूवमेंट, राइट? देयर इज अ कर्व लाइक मूवमेंट, एंड देन दिस कन्वेक्सिटी एडजस्ट फॉर this curvature. This explain why bond be reacted more sharply, right? So please understand, this is a very important concept which is taken from your Macmillan book, right? आप मैकमिलन बुक पढ़ेंगे ना तो यही चीज लिखा हुआ है, लेकिन आपको वहां पे समझ में नहीं आएगा कि आखिर क्या लिखा है वो. तो यहाँ पे वही आपको केस स्टडी फॉर्मेट में ऐसे ही पूछा जाता है क्वेश्चन, राइट? इन सेम वे case study is asked in the BFM examination, and most people say that it is quite tough examination. Why? Because understanding is the main thing. If you understand the concept, you can easily answer it. So remember this key point. I hope that makes simple to you to understand. Now let's see the next question. This question is again based on duration, right? This question is again based on duration. So the question says that the Federal Reserve, right? Federal Reserve like RBI. So the Federal Reserve aggressively raises short-term rate, right? The Federal Reserve raises short-term rate aggressively to control inflation. So Federal Reserve has raised the short-term rate to control inflation. That means suppose RBI. Let's take RBI. RBI has raised the short-term rate to combat inflation. However, long-term bond yield barely increase, means long-term bond yield does not increase, right? So what happened then? A risk analyst notice that traditional duration based model fail to predict the small price drop in the long term bond. So this is a case study. Now question is, why do duration model struggle to predict long term bond price changes in this scenario? राइट सो क्यों जो ड्यूरेशन बेस्ड मॉडल है वो स्ट्रगल किया लॉन्ग टर्म बॉन्ड प्राइस चेंज को प्रेडिक्ट करने में इस सिनेरियो में? ऑप्शन ए, लॉन्ग टर्म यील्ड आर इन्फ्लुएंस मोर बाय कॉन्वेक्सिटी देन ड्यूरेशन. ऑप्शन बी, ड्यूरेशन एज्यूम पैरेलल यील्ड कर्व शिफ्ट but long term rate are less sensitive. Option C, rising short term rate reduce the convexity adjustment requirement. And option D, bond supply adjustment negate duration effect. So let's understand what is happening here. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि जो हमारा आरबीआई है, जो फेडरल रिजर्व है, दे हैव इंक्रीज द शॉर्ट टर्म रेट, राइट? दे हैव इंक्रीज द रेट, इंटरेस्ट रेट दे हैव इंक्रीज, शॉर्ट टर्म रेट दे हैव इंक्रीज. सो व्हाट यू एक्सपेक्ट, आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे? क्योंकि सिंस दे हैव इंक्रीज शॉर्ट टर्म रेट, सो यू वुड एक्सपेक्ट दैट लॉन्ग टर्म रेट विल आल्सो इंक्रीज. आप यही एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे ना कि जो लॉन्ग टर्म रेट है वो भी बढ़ेगा. बट इन रियलिटी व्हाट इज हैपनिंग दैट लॉन्ग टर्म बॉन्ड यील्ड बेयरली मूव. लॉन्ग टर्म बॉन्ड यील्ड डज नॉट चेंज. You were expecting that since short term rate has been increased, so long term rate will also increase. But what happened in reality? That long term bond yield does not move. So what happened because of that? The yield curve become flat. The yield curve become flat, right? So what does this flat yield curve indicate? You know the meaning of this flat yield curve? क्या आपको ये flat yield curve का meaning पता है? What is the meaning of this flat yield curve? Option A, economic expansion. Economic expansion. What is the meaning of flat yield curve? Economic expansion. Or option B, economic uncertainty, right? Economic uncertainty or slowdown. What is the meaning of flat yield curve? Do you understand the meaning of flat? जब हम बोलते हैं कि हमारा yield curve flat है, does it indicate expansion or does it indicate uncertainty or slowdown? The correct answer, you know, the correct answer is it indicates economic uncertainty or it indicates economic slowdown. Because investor expects slower growth, right? Investor expects slower growth, so long term yield does not rise much. And you know this duration model, this is a disadvantage of this modified duration model. This duration model, it assumes that interest rate change affect all bond maturity equally. ड्यूरेशन मॉडल का एक आप कह सकते हैं नेगेटिव पॉइंट है. ड्यूरेशन मॉडल का एक ड्रॉबैक है. वो ड्रॉबैक क्या है? ड्यूरेशन मॉडल एज्यूम करती है कि all in that interest rate affect all bond maturity equally. Suppose two bonds are there, one is for 1 year, other is for 5 year. So what duration assume that for 1 year bond and for 5 year bond, effect of interest rate will be same. But it did not happen. In reality what happened, that long term bond yield respond more slowly. समझ में आ रहा है दोस्तों? Are you understanding it? ड्यूरेशन मॉडल का ये ड्रॉबैक है that it assumes that all kind of maturity bond will have same impact on their interest rate, but in reality that does not happen. For long term bond, what happening? For long term bond, yield responds more slowly. And you know, investor focus on long term economic outlook rather than just short term fate, right? So that is the point here. So now tell me, what is the correct answer? What is the correct answer to this question? So question can be asked, what is the limitation of this duration model? Now can you answer the question correctly? Is it A, B, C or D? So the correct answer, you know, the correct answer is option B, right? Duration assume parallel yield curve shift, but long term rate are less sensitive, right? So this is the correct answer. This is the correct answer. So duration based model assume that all bond yield move together, but you know in reality what happened? Long term bond are more influenced by investor sentiment, inflation expectation and economic growth, right? So this is the point. So that is the answer to this question. And this is a kind of, you know, ये हमारा duration based model का एक disadvantage भी है कि ये assume करता है कि जितना भी हमारा bond है, it assume that all kinds of bond, no matter what its maturity is, all bond will behave in same manner when interest rate change. But actually that does not happen. Sensitivity of longer period bond is less as compared to a smaller period bond. That is the point, right? Now let's see the next question. So this question is based on estimating VAR, right? You know, there are some method to estimate value at risk, right? So this question is based on estimating VAR. So let's go through this question. Basically what is happening, a currency trader is there. A currency trader is analyzing the risk of holding a large USD INR future position, right? They use historical data. They use historical data to estimate the potential loss. However, they are also considering the parametric approach, which factor in interest rate change and stock market indices, right? So basically, यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है? What is happening here? That a currency trader is there. He is analyzing the risk of holding. What will be the risk of holding a large position in USD INR future, right? And they use historical data to estimate the loss. However, they are also considering the parametric approach. So these are the approach. One is the historical data approach, other is the parametric approach, right? So the question is, why might the trader prefer parametric approach over historical method for estimating value at risk? So why is parametric approach more preferable as compared to the historical method? So you must know these two methods, then only you can answer it. Option number A, that parametric approach can incorporate multiple risk factors like interest rate and stock indices. Option B, historical method assume a normal distribution of return, which is not always accurate. Option C, the parametric approach is less computationally intensive than historical method. And option D, historical method does not account for recent market trend. So basically this question is about the difference between historical data method and the parametric approach. And you know, both these methods are used to calculate value at risk, right? दोनों मेथड से हम लोग वैल्यू एट रिस्क को कैलकुलेट करते हैं. So what is the basic difference between why parametric approach is preferred over historical method? So before we reveal the answer, first let's understand the basic, right? We have, मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था. I hope that was in session number 15 or 14. I have already discussed this VAR method, and this is repetition of the question. So if you have gone through the previous video, you might answer it. मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था, हम जब मार्केट रिस्क पढ़ रहे थे, when we were studying market risk, I told you what is the historical method, what is the parametric approach. If you don't remember, let me explain it once more, right? So let me explain it once more. So basically, you know, value at risk, what is VAR? So VAR help trader measure losses within a given time frame. अब वैल्यू एट रिस्क क्या करता है कि कितना लॉस हो रहा है एक टाइम फ्रेम के अंदर, ये मेजर करने में हेल्प करता है. नाउ देयर आर टू मेथड. द फर्स्ट मेथड इज हिस्टोरिकल मेथड. यू नो व्हाट इज हिस्टोरिकल मेथड? सो हिस्टोरिकल मेथड, इट यूज पास्ट प्राइस मूवमेंट. इट यूज पास्ट प्राइस मूवमेंट, राइट, टू प्रेडिक्ट फ्यूचर रिस्क. And what about this parametric approach? The parametric use a statistical model. Parametric approach क्या करता है? Statistical model use करता है to factor in multiple risk. Now, I ask you a question? Which model do you think is better for fast changing market? Right? Please answer my question. Which model is better for fast changing market? Option A, historical, and option B, parametric. Which option is better for fast changing market? Suppose you want to assess the risk in a fast changing market, which is better? Is it historical VAR or is it parametric VAR? What do you think? So let me again tell you that historical VAR uses past price movement. Historical VAR क्या करता है कि जो past का price movement है, it uses past price movement to measure potential loss. And parametric VAR uses a statistical model to factor in multiple risks like interest rate, stock indices. So my question is, which model do you think is better for fast changing market? Yes, parametric VAR is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer, parametric VAR, because you know it is more flexible. It adapts to the changing market condition. So the trade, now what is happening in this question? अब इस क्वेश्चन में हो क्या रहा है थोड़ा वो समझिए. What is happening in this question? And option, these are the four options which is given, A, B, C, and D, right? So why he is preferring parametric approach? What is happening here? That trader is dealing with USD INR. Trader is dealing with USD INR future, and this future is influenced by more than just price movement. There are many factors which are influencing this future, right? And historical VAR ignore this factor, right? So can you tell me which factor can impact currency price? Option A, interest rate. Option B, inflation. Option C, stock market trend. Option C, stock market trend. And option D, all of the above. So which of these factor can affect currency price? Option A, interest rate. Option B, inflation. Option C, stock market trend. And option D, all of the above. So currency price को इनमें से कौन सा factor influence करेगा? Is it interest rate? Is it inflation? Is it stock market trend? Or is it all of the above? Please answer. No, answer is all of the above. आंसर इज ऑल ऑफ द अबव, राइट। करेंसी प्राइस को सभी फैक्टर इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, राइट। इंटरेस्ट रेट, इन्फ्लेशन, स्टॉक मार्केट ट्रेंड एंड all these influence currency price, right? So basically since all these factors are there, that is why parametric approach is more applicable here, right? आप यदि जानना चाहते हैं कि करेंसी प्राइस को कैसे अफेक्ट करता है, इफ यू वांट टू नो, प्लीज ओपन चैप्टर नंबर 1 ऑफ बीएफएम। प्लीज ओपन चैप्टर नंबर 1 ऑफ बीएफएम। दिस क्वेश्चन इज, देयर इज अ रिटन व्हाट आर द फैक्टर अफेक्टिंग फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, एंड इन दैट यू विल सी ऑल दिस फैक्टर आर अफेक्टिंग वन बाय वन। आप वहां पे देखेंगे कि ये सभी के सभी फैक्टर जो है फॉरेन एक्सचेंज को, हमारी करेंसी प्राइस को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं, वेदर इट इज इंटरेस्ट रेट, whether it is inflation, whether it is stock market trend, right? Remember it. So since multiple factors are involved, that is why parametric approach is more suitable. So now what is the correct answer? The correct answer is option A, right? Because the parametric approach can incorporate multiple risk factors like interest rate and stock indices. So this is the correct answer. So what we learned from this question is that, what is the learning from this question is that this historical data approach, right? You must know the difference between historical data and parametric approach. Historical data approach is very simple, but it only look at the past data. Historical data approach only look at the past data, but this parametric VAR, parametric VAR, it includes multiple factor. It includes multiple factor like interest rate, stock indices and correlation, making it more reliable. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope it is clear now, which is more favorable in which situation. Now let's look at this question. Let's look at the next question that we have. So the question is that a portfolio manager is there, right? A portfolio manager is assessing the VAR of a diversified portfolio using Monte Carlo simulation, and the manager run thousands of scenario to estimate potential loss under different market conditions. However, this method requires significant computational resource and assumptions. Now, the next question is, what is the key advantage of using Monte Carlo simulation for VAR estimation as compared to other method? What are the other method? Historical method, and just now I have told you about variance, that parametric approach, and then the third approach is called Monte Carlo simulation approach. तो एडवांटेज क्या है मॉन्टे कार्ले सिमुलेशन का ओवर अदर मेथड? दिस इज द क्वेश्चन. ऑप्शन ए, Monte Carlo simulation assume a normal distribution of return, making them simpler to compute. Option B, they can handle complex scenario and non-normal distribution, providing more realistic risk assessment. Option C, this method is less independent on historical data, reducing the impact of past anomaly. And option D, Monte Carlo simulation are less computationally intensive than historical method. So that is the question. What do you think? What is the main advantage of Monte Carlo simulation? This is another method of computing VAR. वैल्यू एट रिस्क को कैलकुलेट करने का ये तीसरा मेथड है, मॉन्टे कार्लो सिमुलेशन. इसका बेस्ट एडवांटेज क्या है, यही आपसे पूछा जा रहा है. सो बेसिकली दिस इज एन स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक दैट सिमुलेट थाउजेंड ऑफ पॉसिबल आउटकम, राइट. इसको आप समझ सकते हैं जैसे मान लीजिए कि कोई फ्लाइट सिमुलेटर, यू कैन थिंक ऑफ देम लाइक अ फ्लाइट सिमुलेटर फॉर अ ट्रेडर. Flight simulator for a trader, right? Just like a pilot trained for different weather condition. जैसे मान लीजिए कोई फ्लाइट का पायलट है, वो अलग अलग वेदर कंडीशन के लिए ट्रेन होता है. सिमिलरली Monte Carlo simulate multiple market scenario to see how a portfolio might perform under stress. What Monte Carlo simulation does, it simulate multiple market scenario to see how portfolio might perform, right? So basically this is better for complex portfolio, right? So what do you think is the correct answer to this question? I hope that is very easy to understand. Option B, right? Option B is the correct answer. I'm not getting any response from your side. Yes, B is the correct answer, right? Because they can handle complex scenario and non-normal distribution, providing more realistic assessment. That is the correct answer, right? So let me summarize the fact. I have told you about the three methods. The first method is historical, right? The first method is historical. It only use past data. Historical method only use past data and assume that history repeat itself. The second method is called parametric method. So this parametric approach assume that returns are normally distributed. ये क्या assume करता है कि return जो है वो normally distributed, which is not always the case. And this Monte Carlo VAR, right? It simulates thousands of real world possibility it simulate thousands of real world possibility, right? So that is why this is the correct answer. And assuming this normal distribution is always risky in financial market, because market expect different kinds of event that normal distribution cannot predict. So that is the point, right? So that is the point. Now let's switch our focus to the next concept, which is very very important from examination point of view. And the concept is nothing but options, right? The various kinds of option we have. So let's understand this question. This question is asking you that basically a trade buy a European call option on euro USD currency pair with a strike price of 1.20 and the forward rate is 1.22. So how would you classify? So the question is, how would you classify this call option based on its moneyness, right? So option A, add the money, right? Option A is saying add the money. Option B, in the money. Option D, out of the money, right? And option D is the option is ITM. So what do you think? So I hope the concept about if the concept about this is clear or not, right? ITM, OTM. So this is the point here. So friends, here the point is moneyness. What is the meaning of moneyness in the option? So moneyness, what is the meaning of moneyness? Moneyness means when the option is strike price. So it means when the option is strike price, right? It is stand related to the market price of the underlying asset, right? So if the concept of ITM, OTM, and ATM is clear, then only you can answer it. So let me explain, right? Suppose you are shopping for the discounted item, right? Suppose you are shopping for the discounted item, right? So ITM means suppose you bought an item for rupees 20. So let me explain what is ITM. So ITM is you bought an item for rupees 20 which is worth rupees 22. मान लीजिए आप किसी आइटम को 20 रुपया में खरीद लेते हैं जिसका दाम है 22 रुपया. So you got a great deal, right? That is called ITM, in the money. ITM means in the money, right? There is second thing is called OTM. OTM is out of the money. That means you bought an item for rupees 20 that is only worth rupees 18, right? आपने किसी आइटम को 20 रुपए में खरीदा जिसका दाम था मात्र 18 रुपया. So it is not a great deal. It is not a great deal. That is called out of the money. And the last is ATM. ATM means add the money. Means the price you paid is exactly the current market price. मान लीजिए कि आपने 20 रुपया में खरीदा और ये 20 का ही था, तो वो ATM कहलाता है, right? So ATM, OTM and ITM. These three things must be clear, right? So let me ask you a question first. So we will answer this question. Before that, let me ask you a question here. That okay, just wait a minute. Let me erase it. Let me erase it. So what is the benefit of ITM? ITM में क्या होता है कि आप किसी आइटम को कम प्राइस पे खरीदते हैं जबकि एक्चुअल प्राइस ज्यादा होता है. That is called ITM. So what is the benefit of ITM? So let me give you the option. So option number A. What is the benefit of ITM? Option number A, it has intrinsic value. It has intrinsic value. Option number B, it has no value. It has no value unless the price move. It has no value unless price move. Option number C, ITM are always cheaper. ITM are always cheaper. Type A, B, and C. What do you think? Right. Question is, what is the benefit of ITM? Option A, it has intrinsic value. Option B, it has no value until the price move. And option C, ITM are always cheaper. What do you think? What do you think is the correct answer to this question? Because once आप यदि इसका जवाब दे देंगे तभी आप इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर आसानी से कर सकते हैं, right? So the benefit of ITM is that the correct answer is option A, that it has already have value as they can be exercised for a profit, because it has an intrinsic value. ITM का अपना एक value होता है, right? So now in this question what is happening, the call option is there. आप इस क्वेश्चन को देखिए तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि कॉल ऑप्शन यहाँ पे दे रखा है इन्होंने, राइट। तो कॉल ऑप्शन का क्या रूल है, यू नो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ कॉल ऑप्शन? Call option means buying and put option means selling, right? So that is the meaning of call option. And here call option ITM, right? Call option ITM means what? Call option is ITM when the strike price is lower than the market price. So call option is ITM when the strike price is lower than the market price, right? So here the strike price is 1.20 and the forward rate is 1.22. So since the market price is higher, so this option is already profitable. Call option में आप करते क्या है कि आप खरीदते हैं, right? और स्ट्राइक प्राइस है 1.20 और मार्केट प्राइस है 1.22, सो ऑब्वियसली दिस इज बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू, मतलब कि आपको इतना ही प्राइस में मिल रहा है, यू आर गेटिंग एट दिस प्राइस ओनली, राइट? सो दैट इज द पॉइंट. सो व्हाट इज द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन नाउ? प्लीज आंसर. How do you classify this call option? The correct answer is option number B, because this is an ITM, because the strike price is less than the forward rate, right? So this is the case of ITM. ITM means, since this is a call option, and in call option ITM, strike price is always less than the forward rate, right? Now let me ask you a question. What happen if option is OTM? What happen if option is OTM? मान लीजिए ये ऑप्शन OTM होता, आउट ऑफ मनी होता, राइट? आउट ऑफ द मनी, तो क्या होता? ऑप्शन ए, ट्रेडर कैन स्टिल एक्सरसाइज इट फॉर प्रॉफिट. ट्रेडर एक्सरसाइज इट फॉर प्रॉफिट. ऑप्शन बी, ऑप्शन इज वर्थलेस. ये जो ऑप्शन है वो वर्थलेस है. ऑप्शन सी, स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज लोअर देन द मार्केट प्राइस, राइट? व्हाट डू यू थिंक? मान लीजिए कि यदि यहीं पे ऑप्शन आपका ओटीएम होता, कॉल ऑप्शन नहीं रहता, सेम सिचुएशन, स्ट्राइक प्राइस है 1.20, ऑप्शन मैच्योरिटी फॉरवर्ड रेट है 1.22, यदि ये ओटीएम ऑप्शन होता, आउट ऑफ द मनी ऑप्शन होता, तो क्या सही होता? ट्रेडर इसे प्रॉफिट एक्सरसाइज करते प्रॉफिट पे. ऑप्शन बी, इट इज वर्थलेस. एंड ऑप्शन सी, स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज लोअर देन द मार्केट प्राइस. व्हाट डू यू थिंक? इज इट ए, बी एंड सी? Yes, it is worthless, right? Option B is the correct answer. It will be worthless, right? Because OTM option expire worthless until the market move favorably. So it will be worthless, right? So the basic fact is that यहाँ से हमने क्या सीखा कि ITM का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the meaning of in the money? It means strike price is better than the market price. That means it is profitable, especially in the case of call option. कॉल ऑप्शन में आईटीएम का मतलब है स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज लार्जर देन द मार्केट प्राइस. एटीएम का मतलब क्या है कि एटीएम का मतलब है स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज इक्वल टू मार्केट प्राइस, एंड ओटीएम का मतलब है कि स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज वर्स देन द मार्केट प्राइस, राइट? सो दिस इज द मीनिंग, दिस इज द पॉइंट, राइट? इन द केस ऑफ कॉल ऑप्शन, फॉर कॉल ऑप्शन, राइट? नाउ लेट्स सी दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन. This is another question regarding this ATM and OTM and ITM. So the question is saying that an investor purchase a put option. Now आप देखिए, put option है, पिछले क्वेश्चन में call option था, अब इस क्वेश्चन में क्या है, हमारा put option है. Try to understand. Put option you are selling. Put option में आप बेचते हुए हैं, call option में आप खरीदते हैं, right? So here is a put option. An investor purchase a put option on the USD JPY currency pair with a strike price of 110, right? And the forward rate for the option is 105. Forward rate for the option maturity date is 105. So how do you classify this put option based on its moneyness? Option A, ATM, because the strike price equal to current spot rate. Option B, ITM, because the strike price is more than the forward rate. Option C, OTM, because the strike price is less than the forward rate. And option D, this option is OTM if the investor decide to sell it before maturity. सो हेयर द वर्ड इज मनीनेस. मनीनेस का मतलब क्या होता है कि प्रॉफिटेबल कब होगा, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. मतलब कि इट टेल्स अस वेदर एक्सरसाइजिंग एन ऑप्शन वुड बी प्रॉफिटेबल एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम और नॉट. मनीनेस हमें यही बताता है कि यदि हम इस ऑप्शन को एक्सरसाइज करें तो ये हमारे लिए प्रॉफिटेबल होगा या नहीं होगा, राइट? सो फॉर अ पुट ऑप्शन, यहाँ पे पुट ऑप्शन की बात हो रही है. सो पुट ऑप्शन, व्हाट डू यू डू? यू सेल समथिंग, राइट? पुट ऑप्शन में आप क्या करते हैं? आप किसी चीज को बेचते हैं, राइट? सो फॉर पुट ऑप्शन के लिए आईटीएम क्या होगा? व्हाट विल बी द आईटीएम फॉर पुट ऑप्शन? सो पुट ऑप्शन का आईटीएम कब होता है? जब इसका स्ट्राइक प्राइस मार्केट प्राइस से ज्यादा होता है, राइट? दैट इज कॉल्ड इन द मनी। इन द मनी कब होगा? जब स्ट्राइक प्राइस जो है वो मार्केट प्राइस से ज्यादा होता है। व्हेन द स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज लार्जर देन द मार्केट प्राइस, देन द पुट ऑप्शन इज कॉल्ड आईटीएम इन द मनी, बिकॉज इट इज अ प्रॉफिटेबल, राइट? बिकॉज इफ द आइटम इज वैल्यूएबल, आप मान लीजिए किसी चीज को आप बेच रहे हैं, राइट? तो आपने जो एग्रीड प्राइस किया है वो मार्केट प्राइस से ज्यादा होगा, तभी तो आप बेचेंगे। मैं एग्जांपल लेके समझाता हूं, लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यूजिंग एन एग्जांपल। यू नीड नॉट रिमेंबर इट एनीथिंग, आप इसे समझ सकते हैं, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट। सिंस द ऑप्शन इज पुट ऑप्शन यू आर सेलिंग, राइट? आईटीएम इज फेवरेबल थिंग। आईटीएम मतलब कि आपको प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, तो जब आपको प्रॉफिट होगा तभी तो आपके लिए फेवरेबल होगा। सो इफ द स्ट्राइक प्राइस इज हायर देन द मार्केट प्राइस, so this is the case of ITM in the put option, right? So the put option is ITM when the strike price is higher than the market price. So in this case what is the strike price? अब बताइए इस केस में strike price कितना है? Strike price is 110, right? As you can see in this case strike price is 110, and you know forward rate is how much? Forward rate is 105. So since 110 is greater than 105, so this put option is profitable. This put option is profitable, right? So this put option is profitable. So what will be the correct answer? The correct answer is option number B, because this is also the case of ITM. ये भी केस है ITM, बिल्कुल सही बात है। This case is also ITM because you know the strike price is larger than the our forward rate, or so strike price is larger than the forward rate, that is why this is also ITM, right? So what is the rule for put option? So what is the rule for put option? Try to understand. So for ITM in the money put option I'm talking about, strike price is larger than the market price, that means it is profitable. ATM, that means at the money, strike price will be equal to market price, it is neutral, neither profit nor loss. And OTM, when happen, strike price is less than market price, it is not profitable, it is worthless, right? So this thing must be you must be known to you. ये आपको पता होना चाहिए कि एग्जैक्टली कॉल ऑप्शन में आईटीएम क्या होता है, कॉल ऑप्शन में एटीएम क्या होता है, कॉल ऑप्शन में ओटीएम क्या होता है। You should know. And what is the ITM, ATM and OTM in the case of put option, right? So you can think it simply. आप इसको simple भी सोच सकते हैं। Call option means buying, put option means selling, and then you think ITM is profitable, OTM is out of the money, means not profitable. So this way you can think it, right? So this is the concept behind put option and call option. Now let me switch our attention to the next question. So the next question is, suppose an Indian company is there, right? It is looking to hedge its foreign currency exchange risk for an upcoming import transaction. Instead of paying premium, it chooses a structure where it gets protection within a certain range, but agreed to a higher rate if the market move beyond a specified level. So question is, which hedging strategy is the company using? Plain vanilla option, zero cost option, barrier option, or forward contract? What do you think? You know there are different kind of option, right? Plain vanilla, zero cost, barrier option. So you should have knowledge about it, right? So in this case, which kind of option it is using? So let me explain. First of all, you know what is the meaning of hedging? आपको hedging का मतलब पता है? You know what is the meaning of hedging? Let me explain little bit. See, hedging means, you know, it's like a buying an umbrella. It is protecting. It is like buying an umbrella before it is raining, right? It protects you from the risk. But here what is happening? The company don't want to pay a premium for that protection. You see, company एक भी premium नहीं देना चाहती है. वो premium नहीं pay करना चाहती है hedging के लिए. Right? Company don't want to pay a single penny for protection. Instead, they choose a strategy that give protection within a range, but come with a condition. Right? So basically, company does not want to pay a premium for that protection. Instead, they choose a strategy that give protection within a range, but come with a condition. Right? So let me ask you a question. Would you prefer a free insurance policy if it come with a condition? Option A, yes. Option B, no. आपसे एक सवाल है कि क्या आप एक फ्री इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी को प्रीफर करेंगे यदि उसके साथ कोई कंडीशन आता हो? Would you prefer a free insurance policy if it come with a condition? Option A, yes, free is always good, and option B, no, I don't like a condition. What do you think? So basically the same thing is happening with this particular company. Company is not willing to pay a single penny premium, right? and it is choosing a structure where there is a condition, right? So the correct answer, what do you think? Is it plain vanilla? Is it zero cost, or is it barrier? The correct answer, is called zero cost, right? Zero cost. So let me explain this zero cost option. मैं आपको थोड़ा सा जीरो कॉस्ट ऑप्शन समझा देता हूं. So zero cost option क्या होता है समझने का प्रयास कीजिए. Basically what happen in zero cost, that the company does not pay upfront, but there is a catch. The catch is that if the exchange rate stays in the range, protection is available. The protection is available. Moves beyond the limit. If it moves beyond the limit, right? If it moves beyond the limit, the company agreed to buy at higher rate, right? If try to understand the concept, it says that if exchange rate stays in range, then what company will do? Then protection is there, insurance is available, right? And if the exchange rate moves beyond the range, beyond the limit, there is a limit beyond which if the exchange rate move, the company agree to buy it. So let me give you an example. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देके समझाता हूँ ये चीज, ठीक है? जैसे मान लीजिए, suppose an Indian company is importing goods, right? Suppose an Indian company is importing goods. मान लीजिए कोई भारतीय कंपनी है, वो गुड्स इंपोर्ट कर रही है, and they are expected to pay $1 is equal to ₹82 in the future. मान लीजिए कोई भारतीय कंपनी है, वो इंपोर्ट कर रही है और उसे $1 का ₹82 पे करना है फ्यूचर में. So instead of buying an expensive option, they choose a zero cost option. उन्होंने चूज किया zero cost option. Now what is happening here? If the rate stay between 81 to 83, if the rate is stay between 81 to 83, they are protected. They are protected. And if it goes beyond 83, यदि वो 83 के ऊपर चला जाता है, तो वो फिर बोलते हैं कि चलो हम 84 वाला खरीद लेंगे. Then they agree to buy ₹84, right? So this is called zero cost option. This is called zero cost option. Is it clear? Please let me know. Is it clear that they agree that this is the rate that they expect to pay $1 is equal to ₹82, right? So instead of buying an expensive option, right, if the rate stay between 81 to 83, they are protected, right? And if it exceed 83, right, they agree to pay 84, right? Now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question here. Why companies choose zero cost option? Option A, to avoid premium, to avoid paying premium. Option B, to speculate and make profit. Option C, because they want unlimited protection. Because they want unlimited protection. So question is, why company choose a zero cost option? Company zero cost option क्यों choose करती है? Option A, to avoid paying a premium, limited protection. So what do you think is the reason behind opting for this zero cost option? Please type A, B, C or D. A, B, C. What is the answer? Right. Why a company choose a zero cost option? To avoid paying a premium, or to speculate or and make profit, or because they want unlimited protection? So if your concept is clear, you must answer it. Let me check whether it is clear or not. So the correct answer is, option A, right? To avoid premium, right? They still get partial protection. So that is the point. So that is the point about zero cost premium. So zero cost premium is what? No upfront cost. You don't have to pay upfront cost. It simply means no upfront cost, right? But with a condition. It is based for those business that want protection without paying a premium. And if the market moves too far, they must accept a higher rate. So that is the point. So I hope that makes sense to you, right? So now let's switch our focus to the next question. The next question, as you can see on your screen, is available on your screen. So it says that a multinational corporation is there, MNCs is there in India. It is negotiating a loan with a local bank for its short-term working capital need. The bank offer interest rate linked to a benchmark that frequently fluctuate based on the market trend. So basically, the bank offer interest rate which is linked to a widely accepted benchmark, and this fluctuate frequently, right? I hope the question is clear. Basically क्या हो रहा है कि एक MNC है भारत में, वो अपना लोन नेगोशिएट कर रही है लोकल बैंक के साथ अपने शॉर्ट टर्म वर्किंग कैपिटल नीड के लिए. बैंक एक इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑफर कर रही है जो कि फ्लक्चुएट कर रहा है मार्केट रेट के बेसिस पर. So the question is, which benchmark rate is most likely used by the bank to determine interest rate? Is it LIBOR? Is it SOFR? Is it overnight MIBOR? Or is it the Fed rate? Type your answer in the chat. Let's check your understanding. तो कौन सा बेंचमार्क रेट यहाँ पे यूज किया जा रहा है? Is it or Fed rate? Basically, it is financing the working capital need. और आपको working capital पता ही होगा, short term needs के लिए होता है. I think you are familiar with this working capital, right? Working capital is just for meeting the short term needs. So you are saying option number D. Okay, friends. So let me first explain what is the meaning of this benchmark rate. You know, benchmark rate is like a reference point for a loan. It is just like a reference point, right? So they follow a standard rate and add their own margin, right? So do you think that interest rate remains same forever? Option A, yes, interest rate stays same forever. Option B, no, interest rate change with the market. What do you think? Do you think that interest rate remains same forever? Yes or no? A or B? So you are saying my war. Okay, fine. I will explain it. So what do you think about interest rate? Is it remain same forever? No, obviously no. Yeah, interest rate fluctuate based on economic condition. So why do bank use benchmark rate? So why do bank use benchmark rate? You know, imagine you lend money to your friend. Would you prefer a fixed interest rate or one that change with the inflation? मान लीजिए आप अपने दोस्त को पैसा दे रहे हैं, तो क्या आप प्रीफर करेंगे? एक फिक्स इंटरेस्ट रेट प्रीफर करेंगे या एक ऐसा रेट प्रीफर करेंगे जो इन्फ्लेशन के साथ चेंज हो? सो बैंक हैव द सेम इशू टू मैनेज द रिस्क. दे लिंक लोन टू अ बेंचमार्क लाइक दे ओवरनाइट माइबॉर. They link to such kind of thing, right? So my next question is, what do you think influence benchmark rate? Option A, RBI policy. Option B, inflation. Option C, demand and supply. And option D, all of above. So question is, what do you think influence benchmark interest rate? क्या लगता है आपको कौन सा फैक्टर जो है बेंचमार्क इंटरेस्ट रेट को अफेक्ट करता है? इज इट ए, बी, सी और डी? All of the above. Very good. All of the above affect. All these factors affect the benchmark rate, right? So the correct answer to this question is option number C, overnight MIBOR, right? Because it is the most commonly used benchmark for Indian rupees loan, right? And it is based on overnight lending. It is based on overnight lending in the Indian market, and it fluctuates daily, making it ideal for short term lending. आप यहाँ पे देखिए, यहाँ पे कीवर्ड क्या है? शॉर्ट टर्म लैंडिंग की बात हो रही है. Here the keyword is short term lending, right? Why other options are incorrect? So let me talk about that also. मैं आपको बाकी ऑप्शन गलत क्यों ये भी समझा देता हूँ. Let first see the first option. पहले ऑप्शन को आप देखिए. So first option is LIBOR. That is called London Interbank Offer Rate. It is used globally but is now phased out. What is the second? SOFR. This is secured overnight financing rate. It is secured overnight financing rate. It is used in USA, not in India. Second is the Fed rate. This is set by the US Fed Reserve, not relevant to Indian loan. The correct answer is overnight. Overnight MIBOR. Remember it. Very easy to understand. Now let's see the next question. Right. So the next question is in front of your screen. As you can see, a treasury manager at another Indian bank, right, is setting interest rate for corporate loan. Is setting interest rate for corporate loan. A treasury manager to ensure competitive pricing. To ensure competitive pricing, they rely on daily benchmark rate announcement, right, from a financial authority, right? So the question is, so basically this is the question. Treasury manager, Indian bank, is setting interest rate for corporate loan. He is setting interest rate for corporate loan, right? To ensure competitive pricing, they rely on daily benchmark rate announcement from a financial authority. Now the question is, which entity is responsible for publishing the overnight MIBOR in India? RBI, NSE, FBIL and SEBI. ये जो हमारा ओवरनाइट माइबॉर रेट होता है वो कौन पब्लिश करता है? वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन. दिस क्वेश्चन वाज आस्क्ड इन द दिसंबर एग्जामिनेशन. एग्जैक्टली दिस क्वेश्चन वाज आस्क्ड. यानी जो हमारा ओवरनाइट माइबॉर होता है, जो भी अभी मैंने आपको बताया था, ये कौन पब्लिश करता है? इज इट आरबीआई? दिस इज कॉल्ड ओवरनाइट मुंबई इंटरबैंक ऑफर रेट, राइट? इट फ्लक्चुएट डेली बेस्ड ऑन मार्केट कंडीशन, राइट? सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक? इज इट हु पब्लिश इट? So bank need a trusted authority, right? Bank need a trusted authority to announce this rate every day, right? So you are saying NSE, one option getting RBI. What about other option? So first of all, let me ask you, who do you think needs to monitor overnight my war, right? So obviously bank and treasurer, right? Bank and treasury manager, they will manage. So the correct answer to this question is, FBIL. FBIL is the correct answer. Option number C is the correct answer. Financial Benchmark India Limited. Remember it, right? So why do we need an independent body like FBIL to publish my war? Why do we need it? Option A, let me ask you a question. Why do we need independent body? Option A, to ensure transparency. Sorry for my handwriting. Just listen to my word. Option A, transparency. Option B, to manipulate market rate. To manipulate market rate. And option C, to keep rate secret. To keep rate secret. So why do you think we need an independent agency like Financial Benchmark India Limited to publish my war? Option A, for transparency. Option B, to manipulate market rate. And option C, to keep the rate secret. What do you think the reason? Yes, transparency. Very good. Right. FBIL ensure transparency in the financial market. Right. So let me give you some more data about FBIL. FBIL, it was established in 2014. It was established in 2014. Right. To take over earlier, earlier RBI used to set it. Earlier, पहले RBI set करती थी. But now FBIL set it. Right. It ensures accuracy and reliability. Right. So the correct answer, is FBIL. I hope that makes sense to you. Now let's see the next question. That was the easiest question I was asked you. So ABC Limited, this question is regarding the ABC Limited. See what is happening. This ABC Limited, this is an Indian manufacturing company, and it is worried about interest rate fluctuation. It is worried about the interest rate fluctuation. So they approach XYZ Bank for solution, and the bank suggests to use IRS. IRS, this is called interest rate swap. And however, the bank informed that they can only engage in plain vanilla IRS, not exotic derivative. So before executing the swap, ABC Limited CFO is confused. Why are they restricted to simple IRS structure? So ABC Limited, what is happening कि ABC Limited एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी है, वो अपने इंटरेस्ट रेट फ्लक्चुएशन के कारण वरीड है, चिंतित है, इसलिए वो XYZ बैंक के पास गई. राइट, दे वेंट टू द XYZ बैंक एंड बैंक सजेस्टेड टू यूज IRS. बैंक बोली कि चलो तुम IRS यूज कर लो, इंटरेस्ट रेट स्वैप यूज कर लो. लेकिन बैंक ने उसे ये भी कहा कि वो केवल प्लेन वेनिला IRS में ही इन्वॉल्व हो सकती है, एक्सोटिक डेरिवेटिव में नहीं आ सकती. लेकिन इस स्वैप को एग्जीक्यूट करने से पहले वो एक ISDA मास्टर एग्रीमेंट साइन करना पड़ेगा उन्हें. They have to sign an ISDA master agreement, and this confused the CFO. Now let's see the question. So the question is, why is the ABC Limited restricted to plain vanilla interest rate swap instead of complex derivative structure? This is the question. Option A, RBI allow only simple IRS structure for corporate client to minimize risk exposure. Option B, exotic derivative are not available in India due to lack of market liquidity. Option C, Indian company are not allowed to engage in foreign currency swap. Are only allowed to engage in foreign currency swap, not IRS. And option D, RBI permit only government-owned company to use a structured derivative. So this is the question. What do you think? क्यों प्लेन वेनिला इंटरेस्ट रेट स्वैप को रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर रही है, क्यों नहीं कॉम्प्लेक्स डेरिवेटिव स्ट्रक्चर को यूज किया जाए? राइट, व्हाट डू यू थिंक? सो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ IRS? आपको IRS पता है क्या होता है? IRS, IRS is interest rate swap. It is a contract where two party exchange interest rate payment. So let me explain what is happening here. This ABC Limited, it has floating rate loan. It has floating rate loan, FRN, right? It has floating rate loan. Now मिस इंटरेस्ट कीप चेंजिंग. एबीसी लिमिटेड का जो लोन है वो फ्लोटिंग रेट का है, मतलब इसका ब्याज जो है वो चेंज होते रहेगा. टू अवॉइड अनसर्टेनिटी दे स्वैप इट फॉर द फिक्स रेट. अनसर्टेनिटी को अवॉइड करने के लिए उन्होंने फ्लोटिंग को फिक्स में स्वैप कर लिया. व्हाट इट हेल्प्स टू एंश्योर प्रेडिक्टेबल पेमेंट डिस्पाइट मार्केट फ्लक्चुएशन. नाउ वंस दे कन्वर्ट दिस फ्लोटिंग रेट लोन टू फिक्स रेट लोन, नाउ एवरीथिंग बिकम सर्टेन. सब कुछ सर्टेन हो गया ना, राइट? सो दैट इज द पॉइंट. Right. So let me ask you a question. Suppose interest rate is expected to rise. Should a company choose a fixed rate or a floating rate? Option A, fixed rate. Option B, floating rate. मान लीजिए इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ने वाला है, तो कंपनी क्या चूज करेगी? फिक्स रेट चूज करेगी या फ्लोटिंग रेट चूज करेगी? प्लीज आंसर, ए और बी. व्हाट डू यू थिंक? Obviously fixed rate, right? Obviously fixed rate, because they want to lock in a stable interest rate and avoid rising cost. Because interest rate बढ़ रहा है तो cost बढ़ रहा है ना उनका, इसीलिए because no, they will choose fixed rate, not floating rate. because if the interest rate is rising, their cost is increasing. For manufacturing company, cost is increasing, right? So they will choose fixed rate, not floating rate, to avoid the cost. So RBI only allow plain vanilla IRS, right? RBI only allow plain vanilla IRS to minimize the risk. Correct answer is option number A, right? What is the meaning of this exotic derivative? Exotic derivative क्या होता है पता है आपको? See, they are like complex swap. They are like complex swap, right? They lead to huge loss. They can cause huge loss. So RBI want company to use IRS for hedging, not speculation. आपको पता है कि जो हमारा 2008 में जो फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस आया था, 2008 का जो फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस आया था, in that what happened, that many firm lost money due to risky derivative. Many firm lost money due to risky derivative, right? So and also for prevention of mis-selling, this is a restriction which is given by RBI only allow plain vanilla IRS, right? So that is the point. And there is another point. What is ISDA master agreement? इसके बारे में हम आगे बात करेंगे, right? Now let's talk about this ISDA master agreement. Why does XYZ bank insist on signing an ISDA master agreement before entering into IRS contract, right? So that is the question. Why is ISDA master agreement necessary? Option A, it ensures all transactions between two counterparty follow standardized term globally. Option B, it is regulatory requirement for any financial contract. Option C, it protect bank from currency fluctuation risk. And option D, it is required only when transaction is foreign exchange derivative. So what do you think of this? Why is ISDA master agreement is required? What is the meaning of ISDA? ISDA stands for International Swap and Derivative Association. It stands for International Swap and Derivative Association. ISDA का फुल फॉर्म होता है इंटरनेशनल स्वैप एंड डेरिवेटिव एसोसिएशन. तो क्या लगता है, क्या कारण है इसका? व्हाट डू यू थिंक? Why do you think ISDA agreement is required? Is it A, B, C or D? What is the reason? So the correct answer is option number A, right? Option A is the correct answer because it ensures that all transactions between two counterparty follow standardized term globally, right? So basically ये global framework होता है डेरिवेटिव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के लिए, जो कि ट्रांसपेरेंसी को इंश्योर करता है और रिस्क कम करता है, which ensures transparency and reduce the risk, right? So it ensures standardization, right? इससे क्या होता है कि हमारा स्टैंडर्डाइज होता है. इट इंश्योर्स स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, लीगल प्रोटेक्शन, ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसी, राइट? So that is the point. Standardization is the main thing. That the same thing should be for everyone, right? So let me ask you a question. Who do you think benefit more from ISDA master agreement? Option A, bank. Option B, company. And option C, both. Who do you think benefit most from this ISDA master agreement? किसको ज्यादा बेनिफिट मिलता है ISDA master agreement से? बैंक को, कंपनी को, या दोनों को? What do you think? Who do you think get maximum benefit from ISDA agreement? Right? Is it bank? Is it company? Or is it both? The correct answer is both. Yes, very good. Both, right? Because the ISDA master agreement ensures transparency, legal clarity, and risk management. So bank insists on signing it before engaging in swap to reduce legal and operational risk, right? So obviously both is the correct answer. So these are the easy question. Now let's see this question also. This is the last question perhaps from this particular today's session. So this is the last question. So let's see this particular question. What is happening here? So friends, the question says that Global Tech Limited, a multinational corporation, enters into multiple currency swap, right? Enters into multiple currency swap to hedge its foreign currency risk, right? And the legal team insists on ISDA documentation. But a junior analyst gets confused about the hierarchy and the purpose of each component, right? So one particular issue arises that the analyst noticed that the counterparty specific credit threshold are not mentioned in a section that is not part of the master agreement or trade commitment. So question is, where would Global Tech most likely to find this negotiated credit threshold? Option A, ISDA master agreement. Option B, a schedule to master agreement. Option C, trade confirmation. Option D, credit support annex. Why I have given this question? This question exactly same thing was asked in the BFM examination in December to 2024, right? तो ऐसा हुआ कि ग्लोबल टेक एक एमएनसी है, वो मल्टी करेंसी स्वैप में इंटर की अपनी फॉरेन करेंसी रिस्क को हेज करने के लिए, लेकिन देयर इज अ डॉक्यूमेंट व्हिच इज कॉल्ड काउंटर पार्टी स्पेसिफिक क्रेडिट थ्रेशोल्ड. They are mentioned in a section that is not part of the master agreement or trade confirmation. So where it should be, where should this negotiated trade threshold should be there, right? So what do you think the correct answer to this question? So let us talk about each and every option. What is the meaning of ISDA master agreement? It provides a standardized framework, right? It provides a standardized framework, right? For all transaction. What is the meaning of a schedule to master agreement? It is where party can customize term. ये वो जगह है जहां पे पार्टी जो है अपने टर्म्स को कस्टमाइज कर सकते हैं, जिसमें क्रेडिट लिमिट आएगा. क्रेडिट लिमिट को कस्टमाइज, दे कैन कस्टमाइज द क्रेडिट लिमिट, दे कैन कस्टमाइज द jurisdiction clause. The next is trade confirmation. Trade confirmation, it contains transaction detail but does not override the master agreement. Trade confirmation के अंदर transaction detail आता है. And the last is CSA, that is credit support annex. So it governs the collateral requirement. तो ये क्या करता है, जो हमारा collateral requirement है उसको govern करता है, right? So that is the point. So please let me ask you a question. One question I want to ask you: do you think that ISDA master agreement should be customized for each deal? Do you think that ISDA master agreement should be customized for each deal? Yes or no? क्या लगता है आपको, जो ISDA का जो master agreement है वो सभी डील के लिए कस्टमाइज होगा? What do you think? Yes or no? Yes, a schedule to master agreement is the correct answer. Very good. Now, obviously no, right? Master agreement, it remains standardized. ये किसको आप प्रति डील के लिए कस्टमाइज नहीं कर सकते, right? We can't customize it. So that is where customizable terms. Now you can see in the question hint is given, right? This is something customizable, right? So customizable. So that is where a schedule to the master agreement comes to the picture, right? This is where negotiated terms are added, right? It covers the credit limit. It covers the tax provision, right? It covers the jurisdiction. So this is where counterparty specific credit threshold are outlined, right? Now let me ask you last question. Let me ask you last question. What do you think is the most negotiated section in the schedule? Option A, credit limit. Option B, tax provision. Option C, jurisdiction. And option D, all of the above. So which is the most negotiated section? Which is the most negotiated section in the schedule? Is it credit limit? Is it tax provision? Is it jurisdiction? Or is it all of the above? What do you think? The correct answer is all of the above. Everything in the schedule is negotiable, right? So a specific date, amount, interest rate for each transaction, right? So this is the point. So friends, the correct answer to this question is a schedule to master agreement. This is customizable part, right? So that's all for today's session. We will discuss more detail about this ISDA master agreement. This topic is very, very important. ISDA master agreement. We will discuss in detail about it in the next session using this question, right? So I hope today's session was helpful for you, right? If it is helpful, please type helpful in the chat, right? I try to explain everything in the simplest way possible, right? And the PDF of this session will be provided in the Telegram group. Telegram group में मैं इसका PDF आपको दे दूंगा, और इसका जो रिकॉर्डिंग है वो भी आपको अवेलेबल रहेगा फॉर इफ यू वांट टू गो थ्रू दिस लेसन अगेन, राइट? सो आई विल शेयर द नेक्स्ट सेशन, प्रोबेबली इट विल हैपन ऑन सैटरडे मॉर्निंग. अगला जो सेशन होगा वो सैटरडे मॉर्निंग को होगा. आई थिंक इट इज बैंक हॉलीडे, राइट? So I will conduct the session on Saturday morning. I will share the detail. So thanks for attending the session, right? Hopefully this was helpful for you. So I'm ending the session now. Thank you.